In the morning, seek God more than anything else. We need God in our lives to build our successful career. The early morning is a great time to seek God and ask for His help. As we open our eyes before we take a look outside, see the bright morning sun creeping in through our curtains. A simple short prayer should be enough to get us up. A good practice is to put our sandals under our bed every night. In the morning after rising up while reaching for the sandals, you should be kneeling at the same time. Why not say a simple prayer of thanksgiving? Say a prayer of thanksgiving for the good night rest and being able to wake up to a good morning. We know that somewhere around the world someone was not able to wake up anymore to see the sunshine one more time. Feel the power of God all around you inside the bedroom. Try to be quiet for a minute and listen to His voice. A special message could have been directly sent to you. God is first. Seek Him always. When we are seeking God, we are also seeking answers. We want to know why things happen in our lives and what the purpose of life is. To find answers, you must start with God. Ask Him for guidance, seek His face and listen for His voice. He will teach you how to live your life so that it can be successful in every area. When you have anxiety, don't take things into your own hands. If you're worried about something and it isn't going to happen anyway, then why worry? You can't control the outcome. You'll just end up feeling worse when in reality there wasn't anything that could be done to change things anyway. You might think that if I don't do something about my situation then someone else will come along and solve my problem for me, but this isn't true. No one can do anything for us except ourselves. So if we want change, then we need only look within ourselves. Seek the Lord in all your ways, trust in Him, and He will direct your path. He is the one who gives a person direction. He is the one who makes them successful. He is the one who gives them hope and faith when they feel like there is no way out of their situation. All you have to do is ask Him for help. God has not given us a spirit of fear. He has given us power over fear. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and self-control. He's not going to give you any more money or status than He already has, because that would be unfair to everyone else who is working hard for their own success. So instead, He gives us the ability to look at our situation objectively and realize that we have everything we need right in front of us, right now. The Lord equips and prepares His people for every good work. He is the one who gives us power to do His work, because we have not received power from ourselves, but were born through Him. And if you are in Christ Jesus, then you are a new creation. 2 Corinthians 5 verse 17. We don't need everything that goes into our life, but what we do need is wisdom from above so that we might be able to make good choices when God gives us opportunities or opportunities come knocking at our doorsteps. Acknowledge God's faithfulness and goodness in difficult seasons. God is faithful and good. He has a plan for your life, and He will work things out for your good even when you can't see it. It's easy to feel discouraged when things don't go our way or when we get knocked down by life's storms. But remember that God always has a bigger purpose in mind than what we see at first glance. When you're suffering through difficult times, focus on these truths. God is working in your life even when you don't see it. He knows what's best for us, so trust Him as He leads His children through their journeys of faithfulness and obedience. Galatians 6 verse 8. We can trust that God has our best interest in mind when we are being obedient to Him. God has a plan for your life in the best interest of you. He wants to see you grow in Him, but it takes a lot of hard work and dedication to succeed. You can trust that God has your best interest in mind when you are being obedient to Him. If you don't believe this, then I have one question for you. Why do people go through so much hardship just to achieve success? Why do so many people fail at achieving their goals? The answer is simple: they lack faith. In a world where we are constantly bombarded with ungodly information, you can always turn to God for comfort. He is the only one who can help you through your struggles, and He will never leave you alone. Seek Him first and foremost in all your affairs, because without Him, there is no way out of this mess called life.
Gospel reading from Matthew 2 verses 1 to 12. Glory to you, O Lord. When Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of King Herod, behold, Magi from the east arrived in Jerusalem, saying, "Where is the newborn King of the Jews? We saw his star at its rising, and have come to do him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was greatly troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. Assembling all the chief priests and the scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. They said to him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it has been written through the prophet, and you, Bethlehem, land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, since from you shall come a ruler, who is to shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod called the Magi secretly, and ascertained from them the time of the star's appearance. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and search diligently for the child. When you have found him, bring me word, that I too may go and do him homage." After their audience with the king they set out, and behold, the star that they had seen at its rising preceded them, until it came and stopped over the place where the child was. They were overjoyed at seeing the star, and on entering the house, they saw the child with Mary his mother. They prostrated themselves and did him homage. Then they opened their treasures, and offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed for their country by another way. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Reflecting on the mystery of the three wise men and their gifts in Matthew 2 verses 1 to 12. The three wise men are an iconic part of the Christmas season, and their story has been told and retold for centuries. But what do we really know about these mysterious Magi and the gifts they brought to the newborn Jesus? Matthew 2 verses 1 to 12 gives us a glimpse into the mysterious journey of the three wise men and reveals an extraordinary story of devotion, prophecy, and divine timing. From the ancient prophecies of the Old Testament to the star leading them to Bethlehem, this passage paints a picture of an incredible journey of faith and obedience. As we explore the mystery of the three wise men and their gifts, we can gain insight into the powerful truth of God's perfect plan.
Old Testament prophecies fulfilled. The story of the three wise men begins with a series of Old Testament prophecies that were fulfilled in the birth of Jesus Christ. King Herod the Great, who ordered the execution of all male infants, was a descendant of the king who ordered the slaughter of the innocent children of Bethlehem in order to kill the newborn king. The Magi who came to worship Jesus were also fulfilling an Old Testament prophecy. The words of the prophet Balaam are written in Numbers 24, "I see him, but not now. I behold him, but not near. The rulers will be on his shoulders." This prophecy speaks of a mighty king who would rise from Israel and rule the world. The Magi were drawn to the birth of this king, not just out of curiosity, but out of eager anticipation for the fulfillment of the ancient prophecies.
The Star of Bethlehem and the Magi's Journey. The journey of the Magi begins with a star that leads them to the house where Jesus was born. The star was the guiding light the Magi needed to travel the great distance to Israel. This star was a divine sign that God was with the Magi in their journey. According to Matthew 2, this star was so bright that it attracted the attention of people far and wide. This star did not just lead the Magi to the place where Jesus was born, it also revealed the divine timing of the birth of Jesus. The star appeared just as the Magi were setting out on their journey, and it guided them to Israel in time for the birth of Christ. This star was not just a supernatural guiding light, it was also a supernatural sign that God's timing and plan were perfect. The Magi were able to follow the star all the way to the place where Jesus was born, an incredible journey that took the Magi through deserts, mountains, and seas. But the Magi's journey only began with the star.
The gifts of the Magi. The first gift given by the Magi was gold, which represents Jesus' kingly authority. The Magi likely gave gold because it was a commonly used gift given to kings in the ancient Near East. The second gift that the Magi gave to Jesus was incense, which represents the worship of Jesus as God. The Magi could have used any kind of incense, but they chose expensive myrrh, a rare and costly aromatic resin used in the worship of the gods in the ancient world. Myrrh was also used to embalm people, and the Magi's choice of this gift is a reminder that they were offering Jesus a gift that was once used to worship false gods, but was now being offered to the true God. The Magi's third gift was the gift of myrrh and frankincense, which was given to Jesus' mother. The frankincense was used to anoint people, and so it symbolized the Magi's recognition of Mary as the Mother of God. The myrrh represented the suffering that Jesus would endure. The Magi did not give these gifts to Jesus out of selfish desire, but rather out of recognition of the coming price that Jesus would pay to save the world.
The significance of the gifts. The gifts of the Magi were not given as mere tokens of respect and admiration, but as symbols of Jesus' divine identity and mission. The gold symbolizes Jesus' authority and his role as king. The incense symbolizes Jesus' divine identity as God. The choice of myrrh and frankincense demonstrates the Magi's recognition that Mary is the Mother of God. The gifts of the Magi reveal a coming together of ages, the recognition of Jesus as both God and King. The Magi's gifts also reveal the coming together of cultures, the frankincense representing the worship of the Hebrew God and myrrh representing the worship of false gods. The gifts given by the Magi reveal the coming together of people, the Jewish Magi and the Jewish family in Bethlehem coming together with the pagan Magi from the east. The gifts of the Magi show the coming together of promises, the promises of the Old Testament being fulfilled in the birth of Christ. The gifts of the Magi show the coming together of religions, the false religions of the ancient world acknowledging the true God of Israel. The gifts of the Magi show the coming together of ages, the Magi recognizing Jesus as both God and King. The gifts of the Magi show the coming together of cultures, the Magi recognizing the Jewish faith and the Jewish family in Bethlehem. The gifts of the Magi show the coming together of people, the Jewish Magi and the Jewish family in Bethlehem coming together. The gifts of the Magi show the coming together of promises, the promises of the Old Testament being fulfilled in the birth of Christ. The gifts of the Magi show the coming together of religions, the false religions of the ancient world acknowledging the true God of Israel. The gifts of the Magi reveal the extraordinary and perfect timing of God's plan. The gifts of the Magi show that God's plan was always unfolding, the coming together of ages, cultures, people, religions, and promises. The gifts of the Magi show the mystery of God's plan, the extraordinary and perfect timing of God's plan being revealed through the journey and gifts of the Magi.
The Magi's response to the miracle of Jesus. After giving these precious gifts, the Magi bowed down before Jesus and recognized him as the Messiah and King of the Jews. The Magi understood that the Jewish people had been waiting for their king for centuries, and now that king had come. The Magi did not bow down out of mere tradition or cultural expectation, but out of recognition and awe of the extraordinary and perfect timing of God's plan. The Magi's response to Jesus reveals that God's plan is unfolding in our world today. Like the Magi, we can recognize the coming together of ages, cultures, people, religions, and promises as God's plan is being revealed in our own lives. The Magi's response also reveals how the gifts of the Magi show the mystery of God's plan, the extraordinary and perfect timing of God's plan being revealed through the journey and gifts of the Magi.
How this story relates to our faith. The story of the three wise men and their gifts also reveals that God's plan is unfolding in our lives, and we can respond to it with awe and wonder. This story shows that God's plan is so intricate and mysterious, yet it is perfect and has been unfolding throughout time. This story can encourage us that even when times are difficult, God is at work and His plan is unfolding perfectly. The three wise men's journey shows us that the difficult times in our lives are not without meaning or significance. Even though we may not fully understand what is happening, God is at work and His plan is being revealed in our journey. We can trust that God's plan is unfolding in our lives, and we can rest in the knowledge that His timing is perfect. The story of the three wise men begins with a series of Old Testament prophecies that were fulfilled in the birth of Jesus Christ. The journey of the Magi begins with a star that leads them to the house where Jesus was born. The Magi bring gifts of gold, incense, and myrrh, which symbolize Jesus' divine identity and mission. The gifts reveal that the Magi understand Jesus' divinity and kingly authority. The gifts also reveal that God's plan is unfolding in our lives.